All right. Hi, it's Sue Carney. Welcome to the Full Moon Circle today. And I'm really glad you're here. And if you're not listening to the call live and you're listening to it recorded, welcome. And you can find these recordings on my YouTube channel, Magnolia's West. There's a Moon Circles playlist there. And you can also find them posted in the Moon Circles Facebook group, which if you're not yet a member of, hit me up and I'll get you connected. My guest today, my co-host today is my friend Autumn Bradley Orrell, and I will introduce her in a minute. I just want to get us grounded together before we start talking. I love the conversations we have here. And I also like the few minutes that we take to just connect through our breath with each other and with the moment. So I'm just watching this bird. I've never seen one like it before, just landed on the umbrella right in front of my face. Okay, interesting. Let's close our eyes. And if you can, put your feet on the floor. If you can, sit tall. I like to just say, let your heart be forward, or tits out is another way I say it. Just let your heart be forward and wag your tail a little bit. Like imagine that if you had a tail, what it would be like to wag it. And just like let that energy gently move through your spine. Invite your breath to lengthen a little bit and to relax and to be easy, no stress. This is one of the very first meditation cues I was ever taught. I wouldn't even call it an actual meditation. It's just about listening. So as you let your breath slow down, and as you become conscious of your surroundings, send your listening out as if you were listening for the farthest sound. Let's just take some time doing that. However far you're hearing now, try and hear a little bit farther than that, whether it's traffic sounds or nature sounds or the breeze in the leaves. And with your awareness, your aural awareness, AURAL, sent out as far as it can be. Let it keep listening for the farthest sound, and at the same time, see what it feels like to listen inside yourself, inside your own personal cosmos. What do you hear and feel in your body? Can you hear the thud of your pulse? Good way to be really connected is to let the tip of your tongue rest on the roof of your mouth and just keep listening. And I think we'll close with a little loving kindness to ourselves first. So repeat mentally to yourself, may I be loved. May I be joyful. And may I be at peace. And now cast your mental gaze back over the years of your life and think of some of the people who have mentored you, taught you lessons, positive and negative. Bring them to mind and say to yourself, may all my guides be loved. May all my guides be joyful. May all my guides be at peace. And I welcome you both to the circle. And anyone else who's listening. So we are at the full moon in Taurus today, right? Yes? And tomorrow, it will be tomorrow. I'm sorry, in Scorpio.
Scorpio.
I get my new moons and my full moons confused sometimes, and they're always opposite each other, as Taurus and Scorpio are. It's the full moon in Scorpio, and it's that season here in the Northern Hemisphere of insane growth everywhere, and life happening everywhere. And it can, I know for me, can make me feel intemperate about how I'm managing my own resources. It can make me feel like, woo, I want to celebrate and I want to buy things and spend money and go out and, and upgrade technology. And oh my God, my laptop had a black screen and wouldn't start up just 10 minutes ago. And of course I thought I have to go to the Apple store. But I found the solution online, so I was able to get past that moment. But it's in full moon conversations, one of the threads always for me has to do with abundance. And one of my favorite sayings and guideposts in my life is frugal abundance. How can I take exquisite care of myself and still be balanced, temperate in how I use my resources? So I just want to put that question out there and introduce you to Autumn and ask you to introduce yourself and say whatever's on your heart.
Well, thank you for having me here today, Sue. Frugal abundance is one of my favorite topics too. So I was really excited to show up and talk to you about it today. I am a mindset healer. And one of my favorite topics is to work around money and abundance, probably because it's been one of my biggest paths of healing myself. And you talk about the urge to, the first urge is to run to the Apple store with your technology troubles, or springtime, bringing out the urge to celebrate in financial ways too. And with my history is one of compulsive spending. So I can completely relate that my first inclination is almost always to spend the money. And I've had to learn to be that good caretaker of the money that's available, while appreciating the abundance that's always around. So really excited to have this conversation today.
Well, Kate, do you want to chime in?
I had never heard the term frugal abundance, so that's a new one for me. My first inclination is, no, it's shutting down the abundance. But I don't necessarily believe that, but that's my first gut reaction, because I am in a very, very, very must be frugal period right now, and have been it many times throughout my life. And so it's like, no, I want just all the abundance. Though I do resonate with the fact of, or with the idea of, yeah, when I get a little bit of money, the first thing I want to go do is spend it. And not always on things that are in my best interest or my most immediate high priority. So I'll be interested to hear about this, because, as I said, it's not a concept that I'd really heard about before or considered. And my reaction was so strong, like, no. So I'll be really interested to hear about it and learn some more.
That's really interesting. I think my first reaction to this concept was very similar. But I want to give you an example. And to do this, I have to just tell the truth. And to do that messes with my idea of how I look. I look good. So I'm just going to say this is what's true. I'm in a place I've never been before in my life, although part of it I have and part of it not. So my business hasn't supported me for the last 3 years, and I have been spending down my savings, which is not limitless. That the savings is not limitless, and this move I just went through really opened my eyes to my financial reality in a way that I have, kind of busted my denial, what was left of my denial, in a really big way, and was difficult for me. And so here I am, having moved and beginning the process of applying for below market rate housing and senior housing and things that exist out there in the world for people like me who are having trouble with what it costs to pay for housing now. And so I've become really mindful of how I'm spending my money, and become really mindful about it. And at the same time, I have dropped enough weight that my pants are falling off my body. So I am at the last hole in the belt that is holding up my pants. So I went to the store and I bought some pants. I bought one new pair of jeans and 3 pairs of lighter weight pants, because this is a hot place. And I was looking in my closet and thinking, well, I'd like to have more than 1 pair of jeans that I don't have to hold up with a belt that's on its last hole. And how much shopping is really the appropriate amount of shop? How much wardrobe replacing is appropriate for me? And I see the compulsive part too. So I'm on these. I read these blogs, and one of them is like the bargain of the day blog, and 10 pairs of underwear for $35. I looked at my underwear drawer and decided there wasn't enough in there, and went and bought the underpants, and it was bras, 2 for $15, and I got 2 of those. And it's like, okay, what? I can always make a case for my need for this stuff. And, but finding the balance, one of my teachers used to define temperance as no more or less than necessary. And the problem is my ego chimes into the conversation of what necessary is, as well as my more sensible self. So that's what's up for me when I think about frugal abundance. My jeans are the first thing that I'm thinking about right now.
So for me, frugal abundance, it means, you need to know yourself and your values so you can spend your money in accordance to your values. So, I heard an expression once that, and for me, this was part of my path. Before my money healing journey, I just bought and spent really blindly. So they say, you know, you can look in your checkbook register and it will show you your values. And, you know, that can be a really enlightening exercise to track where you're actually spending your money versus, you know, what you say are your values and what you're actually spending your money on. So I've been sort of dealing with the spending as related to food. For me, that's always this place I want to save money. And yet I'm trying to take really good care of myself. So I'm looking at my values, and I really want to treat my body well, which means good food. So I need to balance the priorities and, you know, while still being a good caretaker of the money I have. You know, if I'm choosing to spend more money on better quality food, then I need to perhaps make a choice today on, you know, not getting caught up in the deal of the day. I have friend that sells some clothing that I love, and I'm constantly stalking that, but desperately trying not to buy. You know, and Sue, you know your lifestyle. So does one pair of jeans or two pair of jeans suit you?
One does not. One does not.
One does not.
One short. I need an option. Yeah, this is a dark wash. I need a light wash. I got it.
Okay.
It's really
All
clear.
right.
And so one is not many though. One is not many.
Right.
That's the thing I'm looking at. And the thing you said about, I have to tell this person, I will talk to them later. The thing you said about paying attention to what you spend. When I started this, when I voluntarily put myself in the path of learning about my relationship with money and finances, I was living in New York, and I started writing down not just what my check register, but my cash outlay. I carried a little pad. Now I do it all on my phone. But I carried a little pad and I wrote down every penny I spent.
Mm-hmm.
And within a month, I could see, and this was 1990, I was spending $150 a month on the street cappuccinos. And it wasn't until and I don't know how much a month on cabs. And
Mm-hmm.
all of a sudden, I started buying subway tokens and carrying them in my pocket. All of a sudden, I started making coffee at home. It was like once the denial is busted, it's busted. I couldn't go back. I just couldn't go. Now that I knew exactly what I was doing with them, it didn't matter if I left the house with $111 or $11 or 11, or $1.11. I'd come home with almost nothing and not know where it went.
Right.
Now I know, and now I can see it. I can pull it up and see exactly how much I'm spending on. Now it's iced tea with lemonade, whatever my latest addiction might be, and have that conversation with myself. What is it I'm looking for when I walk into the cafe for another chocolate dip macaroon? And how can I do that for myself in a way that would feel as good and be more sustainable?
Right. And that cash tracking in particular is very powerful. I'm doing that right now for my food spending, more for just clarity and awareness. What am I really spending? But, $2 here, $3 there, $5 there, a month goes by, it really adds up. And it really shows you that truth. And then you're in a position to really deal with that. I think the other thing with frugal abundance is, and Kate, when you said you didn't like this idea of frugal abundance, you need to be, you want to feel good in the ways that you're choosing to be frugal and have it be a choice and not, try not to fall in the I'm being frugal because I have to. Now, obviously, there are times where that may be necessary, and still finding a way to be okay with that I just keep going back to being a good caretaker of the money that's available, and really adhering to your values and spending in a manner that serves you. to the highest and best good. So, trying to think of a recent example. We've been doing some housework and buying paint, and oh my gosh, I got a little sticker shock buying a can of paint. And it's not something I really want to spend my money on, but it is kind of a necessary improvement. We're looking at selling our home. So I got that kind of, I don't want to spend my money on that. Oh, but I have to spend my money on that. But, you know, so some of the work that I do is really diffusing that energy and those beliefs that contribute to that. I'm trying to come up with a word, sort of incoherence. It doesn't feel good feeling, the dissonance, you know, so you can come to a place of making those spending choices in a way that feels good rather than really not.
Well, for me, it's what do I do about what I'm spending? If I choose to spend less or choose to drop a tier from artisanal, organic, handmade, if I choose to drop down a tier, what does it mean about? I have all this stuff connected to it, and I have slid down into a different economy now. I mean, I can't avoid that idea now that I'm applying for, you know, subsidized housing, that I'm sliding into a different economy. And I went to the farmer's market today, and I've lived in California for over 20 years, and I have been heedless about how much I spend on stone fruit in the summertime. I just don't even think about it. I just buy all the apricots and all the nectarines and all the cherries. Now I can't not think about it. Now I really want to think about it. I really want to think about how I'm choosing to spend my money and where I can softening rigidity seems to be what's up for me, like everywhere I look these days. But how can I soften my rigidity about what I put into my body and what I eat and how I spend my money and still feel like I'm doing the best job of nurturing this body of mine, you know? And I think that part of it is a commitment to health, and part of it is snobbery. And I'm getting a look at my snobbery about this, you know, how I appear in the world. I am really happy to find a hairdresser that charged me $40. I mean, I could have gone to a curly girl hair cutter here in Petaluma and spent $180. I decided to take a shot on my housemate's hairdresser and see what happened, and pray for the best. And I think it worked out fine. So, but it is really challenging, the meaning that I ascribe to these things, you know, the amount of money that I'm willing to spend, the amount of money that I have, and what it means about me. Yes, Kate.
Yeah, I'm homeless, though I'm not really calling myself that. I'm on an adventure. But the point is, I'm homeless. And I am getting support from the state for food. Basically, I'm getting food stamps. And I have X amount of money. And that's all I can spend on food. Because I don't have other money floating around. That needs to go somewhere else. And when you were talking about the snobbery of it and that sort of thing, I mean, I've never been extravagant or anything like that. But it's really interesting and humbling, kind of in a good way for me. It's like, do I get the pineapple that costs $4.99 that will last me like 3 days? Or do I get 3 bananas that are going to cost me $1.50? I want the pineapple. I want that pineapple. But I got to have the bananas. I mean, and bananas, I love them. But it's this and both are equally healthy. They have different things, but it's like anybody can have a banana. I want the pineapple. I mean, it is my favorite fruit. But this whole idea of, even within that idea of taking care of ourselves, there are less expensive options. But, and I don't know, it really does force you into this. I mean, I want abundance. I want it. But I am really in this frugal state, and I'm trying to make the most out of that frugalness that I can get out of it. So I've really learned to, like, I mean, it's still a learning thing, but it's like, okay, I want that. I really can't have that, but what can I have that's just as good, but maybe different? And that sort of thing.
Yeah. I have.
But it is, and it's, and go ahead.
No, it's all right. I'll wait.
No, I was just going to say, the other thing about, being homeless is, my God, like, and being on, some kind of support, like you're talking about with the subsidized housing, it is just like nowhere I ever dreamed I would be. And it is really humbling. And again, I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing. Because, and the other thing is, like, there's really nowhere to go but up. I mean, anyway, we won't, but, it's like, okay, the only way is up. So that's kind of what I try to hold on to, too. It's like, okay, I'm in kind of a nadir, but it can go up. And it's okay being in a lower place for a while.
Yeah, and there's no way to know, for me anyway, what it's going to look like, or if my fortunes will change, or if my business will turn around. I don't know. I am acting as if it will. I'm acting as if my fortunes will improve, but I'm kind of being incredibly careful at the same time, just in case, and who knows. And I really admire the way you're showing up for this, Kate. I wanted to say something. Oh, yeah, I had one of these conversations I'll have all the time. I stopped a stranger on the street yesterday and said, "That shirt is amazing. Where did you get it?" She was wearing a beautiful shirt that came long tunic kind of top that I love. And she said, "Oh, at the blah, blah store." And I said, "Would you mind telling me how much it was?" And she said $140. And I just covered my ears and said, "Have a nice day," and walked away. There may have been a time where I would have bought a shirt like that for $140, but not right now.
Sue, I got to tell you, I have not bought anything full price in probably 10 years. I don't know about Petaluma, but you're in the Bay Area. There are amazing thrift shops where you go get that shirt next year for $10 or $15.
I just left my favorite thrift shop closed in the East Bay, and I thought, okay, good, now I can move. But I used to buy Eileen Fisher there. There must have been like 2 women in that neighborhood that would buy Eileen Fisher and then just consign it. They wouldn't even, sometimes they had tags on. And I would get great clothing there, Citron and Eileen Fisher there all the time. And I just got told where the best thrift shop is here yesterday. So I'll be checking that out too. So it's great. I feel kind of temptation proof about that. So I just want to do a time check. We have about 5 more minutes. Can we hear from you again, Autumn? More you'd like to say?
Well, I've been feeling all afternoon sort of a little exercise. It doesn't necessarily fit into the frugal part of things, but more the abundance side of things.
Yay.
So if that's okay, okay.
4 thumbs up.
And maybe something else will fit in as we go through it. So this is kind of an exercise that has come up in various forms with a couple different clients. And so close your eyes, take a deep breath, focus internally, and For the most recent client that I worked with, it showed up as a, we're gonna look for your source of abundance, and in sort of a metaphorical way. And for a recent client, it showed up as a like leprechaun's golden pot at the end of a rainbow. Instead of being filled with gold coins, it was filled with liquid gold. I had one client where it was like an old-fashioned well that had a bucket attached to it. It could be a stream. And so just imagine that you're outside in a nice green, lush area, and somewhere in your very near vicinity that you can reach is a pot of liquid gold. And everybody has their own pot of liquid gold. So it's not something that you need to share. It is your pot of liquid gold. And it is so full of gold that it is bubbling up and over and spilling out of the pot all over into the grass. And where the gold hits the grass, flowers are blooming. Now, one thing I like to do with this liquid gold, when you maybe feel you need that feeling of abundance, you could actually imagine dipping in a coffee cup or mug into that liquid gold and drinking it and filling yourself up from the inside with that golden, abundant energy that is endlessly available from your pot. If you prefer the image of a well, you can crank the bucket down and bring back up as much golden energy. Some people actually, if they're working more on the financial end of things, like to visualize money in that bucket that they can reach for at any given time. Now, actually, the visual of that item can be what you want it to be at any given day. It's a magic item. So you could turn your golden pot into a hot tub and go for a dip and into that golden energy and actually immerse yourself in that endless abundance that's available for you. If you wanted to widen that into a pool or a stream or even an ocean, you can do so as you please. And it's a really powerful way to start your day by spending a few minutes with your source of abundance, whether it's the liquid gold in the pot or a stream of golden energy or money, if you prefer to picture abundance in a financial way. And just spend a few minutes with that and filling yourself up so that you can go out into the world feeling filled up and abundant from the inside before having to address actual worldly, physical, and perhaps frugal financial choices. So you can make those choices from a place of internal abundance rather than maybe any anxious feelings of lack. And that's what I have.
That was beautiful. I loved it. And I was at the ocean from the very beginning. That's where I found myself visualizing the ocean and its endlessness, its vast endlessness. And then I also, and it's no wonder these are my two spiritual homes, I also imagine the redwoods, leaning on a redwood, which is you can't dip into it, but you can lean hard against one of them, you know, and it just seems to go on forever. And and those images felt really good. That was beautiful.
Mine was raining gold.
Yay!
So, and it just rains all the time.
Yeah.
And I can put a barrel out and capture some of it, or I can just bathe in it.
Yeah.
Let it just like soak me and fill me up. But mine was definitely, I mean, I loved the image of the overflowing cattle, whatever, and then the flowers, because it's like that's what comes from the abundance. It's what we can grow from it. So I really liked that. But mine was mostly rain. Just raining gold.
Love it.
Sounds awesome. I love it.
All right. Well, we need to wrap up, and I just want to say to anyone who's listening live or listening to the recording later that for the next few weeks, I'm offering a reduced price on my review your homepage or about page review that I do with you around is your ideal client really going to see herself or himself in your copy, and they're going to feel that you really get them. So it's about the empathy and the ideal client piece, and that's usually $297. But if you catch me in the next few weeks, it's a $97 deal. So I want to get a few more of those going. So hit me up.
Thank you.
And you're welcome. And is there any particular offer you wanted to make today, Autumn, before we have to go?
Oh. You know, I don't have anything off the top of my head.
All right.
I'm not prepared for that part. So I'll just say happy full moon.
Happy full moon blessings.
Thank you. Thank you.
Deeply grateful. Thank you for joining me today.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.